This week on ATV News, the Harvey Weinstein allegations continue, AU's first STEM fair arrives on campus, and All-American Weekend comes to a close. I'm Mariah Spada.
I'm Alexis Arnold.
ATV News starts now.
The U.S. men's soccer team failed to qualify for the World Cup for the first time since 1986. Not only was the upset devastating for the team, but it could have unintended consequences. Fox Sports is poised to lose $10 to $20 million. The channel is already facing difficulty due to the 7-hour time difference between the U.S. and Russia. Now, it is likely American advertisers will buy less airtime since the U.S. team is not playing. Fox contributor and former national team player Alexi Lalas said this team, they failed themselves, they failed the sport, and they failed their country. Let's turn to Katie Malone with our politics report.
Thanks, Alexis. For ATV News, I'm Katie Malone with your politics report. The AU Dems are preparing for election season this week. They've been holding phone banking events since mid-September and plan to continue every Monday until election night. Meanwhile, the college Republicans are promoting the Center for Strategic and International Studies Global Security Forum. Senator John McCain will be speaking at the event on November 7th. In our nation's capital, a new bill was proposed to decriminalize sex work. Advocates for the bill say that it would make sex workers' lives safer, while those against it believe the bill would make D.C. a prostitution hub. Last year, the district enacted a law that secured 8 weeks of paid parental leave, but now the council is debating making major changes to the original jurisdiction. Members of the D.C. Council want to add numerous amendments that would increase other types of paid time off, but the original supporters fear that this will weaken the bill. Finally, the D.C. Council overturned the city's ban on dogs in restaurant patios. The ban went largely unenforced, but as the health department cracked down on local establishments, owners of many restaurants in the area pushed for change. Now it's up to individual restaurants and bars whether or not to allow these furry friends. For ATV News, I'm Katie Malone.
Thanks, Katie. So Katie brought up this idea of DC, legalizing prostitution, and I've always felt as though in the conversation of, sex trafficking and prostitution, it's hard. It's a hard line when discussing what to legalize, what not to legalize. But she also brought up this concept of DC wanting to ban dogs on the patio. That's a little bit more obvious to me that we can't have that happen.
I know, having dogs on the summer outside is just a staple of DC life, and you really can't get rid of your furry friends.
Alexis, what is my one thing I'm obsessed with?
I'm pretty sure it's pugs, Mariah.
Pugs, guys. ATV, pugs are the cutest thing ever. So if DC bans this from restaurant life, I'm going to be upset.
Because you can't see any more pugs.
Love letters written by a young Barack Obama will be on view at Emory University. The letters were written to then-girlfriend Alexandra McNear between 1982 and 1984, after he transferred to Columbia University. The letters detail his feelings as a student that many college students today would resonate with. He writes about relationships, jobs, and bad opera music. The letters will be on display starting this Friday and will be available for study by scholars and students on appointment. Let's turn to Alexandra Sherratt for our entertainment report.
Thanks, Mariah. I'm Alexandra Sherratt with your entertainment report. Are you interested in learning more about human rights? Come to the K Spiritual Life Center on Tuesday, October 24th at noon to chat with Raisha Robles. Robles is a Philippine human rights activist and journalist who is currently promoting her new book, Marcos Martial Law, New Again, throughout the United States. Visit the Harold and Sylvia Greenberg Theater this weekend to see Little Women, the musical version of Louisa May Alcott's beloved novel. You can see the musical on Friday, October 27th at 8 p.m. or on Saturday, October 28th at 2 or 8 p.m. Tickets range from $10 to $15. Do you want to explore the District of Columbia? Look into the Federal Triangle Architecture Tour. You will visit 10 sites on the tour, including the J. Edgar Hoover FBI building and the U.S. Navy Memorial. You have until December 8th, 2017 to schedule a tour. For ATV News, I'm Alexandra Sherratt.
Thanks, Alexandra. And I would encourage everyone to go see Little Women because AU's theater, they do a great job with all the productions. I'm personally going to see it next weekend, and I've seen some of the shows they did before, and trust me, they will have you laughing and smiling and singing along.
I'm glad Alexandra brought that up. I didn't even know this was a thing. I super encourage people to go out. I love theater. I'm from New York, so Broadway.
Oh,
you know, if you can't go to Hamilton, why not go to an AU production?
And, you know, besides that, there's some great architecture in the area. I would also encourage everyone to go on the tour. I mean, it's on till December 8th, so you have plenty of time to go explore when you have a free weekend, not too much stuff to do.
Absolutely.
It should absolutely be so much fun.
Alexis, you remember I stayed back this summer, and I would literally just get out and just start walking around, seeing the architecture, seeing the buildings. DC, it has so much to offer.
The Harvey Weinstein saga continues with 2 more stars speaking out about the accused film producer. Director Quentin Tarantino said in an interview with the New York Times he had heard accounts of abuse by Weinstein and regrets not acting on it. Tarantino said, quote, "I knew enough to do more than I did, and I wish I had taken responsibility for what I heard." Actress Lupita Nyong'o bravely opened up about Weinstein's sexual advances towards her as well. She and many other women continue to shed light on the abuses of Weinstein and other powerful Hollywood executives. Let's turn to Veronica Robertson with our science report.
Thanks, Alexis. I'm Veronica Robertson with your science report. A recent report by Harvard Medical School had uncovered a possible step towards new, more effective treatments for breast cancer patients. The new study showed that breast cancer cells recycle a byproduct of cell metabolism called ammonia and use its nitrogen component to fuel tumor growth. Harvard scientists report that regression of ammonia metabolism stunts tumor growth in mice. This new finding paves the way for therapeutic strategies to slow tumor growth in humans. This past Monday, astronomers witnessed the collision of a pair of neutron stars for the first time in history. It was discovered that collisions similar to this one are how most of the heaviest elements in the universe are created. It is one of the most violent and cataclysmic processes in the universe, causing ripples in the cosmic fabric. This collision was first picked up by the US-based Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, or LIGO. Bringing it back to our own American university, the College of Arts and Sciences hosted its first STEAM fair yesterday. Keynote speaker Nergis Mavalvala, MacArthur Genius Award winner and MIT professor, spoke about the Nobel Prize-winning LIGO project. She believes that we are currently engaged in a major paradigm shift regarding black holes, neutron stars, and gravitational waves, and it is likely that many new findings in these areas will be uncovered in the next few years. Currently, her team is working on new technologies that will improve and expand the LIGO sensors and allow for even more incredible discoveries. That's the big news in science for this week. For ATV News, I'm Veronica Robertson.
Thanks, Veronica. Wow, I am such a science nerd, so it is so cool to hear about all these new discoveries, especially the big, star explosions. I mean, I'm sure that would have been incredible to watch.
Yeah, 100%. I hope my brother's watching at home because he's an astronomy major. He's always bugged me, Mariah, you have to listen to science. This is so important. So I think it's awesome that we're, discussing this big topic.
Especially, and we have STEM on campus too, so it's not a topic that's so far away from you. You can even talk about it right here.
Absolutely. The AU Museum at the Katzen Art Center is presenting a wide range of cultural exhibits this week, including Tethered to the Cradle, kinetic work by Christopher Carter on the first floor, Arab modern and contemporary works from the Bar Gil Art Foundation on the first floor, and William Woodwar, The 7 Deadly Sins on the third floor. Let's turn to Julia Wanning-Zimmer with our World News Report.
Thanks, Mariah. I'm Julia Wanning-Zimmer with your World News Report. Japan will be holding a snap election on Sunday, October 21st. The country's Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe, called for the election despite the fact that it was scheduled for more than a year from now. Prime Minister Abe did this hoping to secure his plans to expand Japan's military power in the heat of the looming threat of North Korea. Spain has regained control over Catalonia, a semi-autonomous region. Catalonia's government had just voted to break apart from Spain, but Spain called the vote unconstitutional. After repeated attempts to ask Catalonia to break away from this vote, Spain will now deploy police to prevent a Catalan independence vote. Last week, something supernatural happened in Malawi. 9 people are dead from vampire lynch mobs. Over 100 people attacked others whom they believed to be vampires. For ATV News, I'm Julia Wanning-Zimmer.
Thanks, Julia.
I'm sorry, did you just hear something about vampire bites?
Yeah, there has to be another explanation besides that. I mean, I can't imagine vampires are the only reasonable.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Alexis. I'm all for Twilight. Those are some of my favorite books.
Of course.
Love, stuff like that. But real life vampire bites, I'm a bit concerned. I want to keep that to the, the Twilight books, not necessarily real life.
Yeah, but I would definitely, but there's, some real life things that are a bit concerning, which is like the expanding military power of Japan and North Korea threat. It's just a little scary to think about, so.
Julia, thanks for sharing.
In science news, the FDA has approved a second gene therapy for cancer. This treatment called Yescarta will target non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. The treatment is intended for adult patients with a certain types of large B-cell lymphoma, when other types of treatments fail. Currently, half of these types of lymphoma patients will relapse or become resistant to other treatments. Yescarta is different because it will use a patient's own cells to fight malignancies. The FDA commissioner stated positively how gene therapy has gone from being a promising concept to a practical solution in just several decades.
American University welcomed hundreds of guests to campus this weekend for All-American Weekend, a celebration for AU students, alumni, and their families. There were more than 40 different events, including the All-American Fall Festival, an AU Ed talk with Professor Ibram X. Kennedy, and a presentation with actress Gabrielle Union.
Normally, former presidents do their best to stay out of current politics, but President George W. Bush has broken from that tradition. He gave point-by-point rejection of President Trump's ideologies in a speech this Thursday. Although he did not call out Trump by name, it was clear he was making a stand against the ideologies that the current president often supports. Bush ended this speech by saying that the very identity of our nation depends on the passing of civic ideals to the next generation.
Let's turn to Yukari Nakayama with your weather report.
Thanks, Mariah. I'm Yukari Nakayama with your weather report. Keep expecting cool weather, AU, as this week we are starting off with a high of 76, leading up to Tuesday with a high of 70, with a 90% chance of rain. The rest of the week will be a little bit cooler, around 60s, leading to Friday with a high of 67. From ATV News, I'm Yukari Nakayama.
Thanks, Yukari.
Wow, I mean, it really does not feel like fall, especially because we're both from New York. Fall feels like colder weather and changing trees and stuff like that, and it just is really still pretty warm here.
That isn't changing anything for me, Alexis. I've been pulling out the turtlenecks, the really cute lipsticks. Fall for me is when I can wear, the fall aesthetic. So although it's not as chilly, I'm feeling the fall vibes.
Of course, you look great in a beanie, I'll tell you that.
Thanks, Alexis. President Trump is set on releasing long classified CIA and FBI documents on the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The thousands of documents were set to release on October 26th by the National Archives, but it was unclear whether or not Trump would block the release due to national security concerns. Trump tweeted this morning, quote, "Subject to the receipt of further information, I will be allowing, as president, the long-blocked and classified JFK files to be opened." This is what historians and eager scholars have been waiting for, as the 1963 assassination has sparked numerous conspiracy theories over the years. So hopefully with this release, some clarity can be provided for the public. Thank you for joining us this week for ATV News. I'm Mariah Espada.
And I'm Alexis Arnold. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. See you next week.